Put your hands together one time. I want you to get together. I want you to get together.
Hello to everyone who's been following the series up until now. If you're still with me, then you'll remember that in the last episode we were talking about the Hat Man and Morris dancers, and how this mysterious Hat Man figure has been seen by thousands of people in their dreams or in broad daylight as some kind of dark, shadowy figure or entity that can lead shadow beings of some kind. But as we showed, it has also been referenced many, many times in film, like the Crooked Man here, the Mad Hatter himself, Master and Margarita, the Behemoth Cat and his friend. Here's another picture of the Hat Man. Obviously some kind of magician of some kind here. It's a reoccurring theme, but obviously that's not very clownish, I'll admit, but the vision I had where there was flowing multicoloured ribbons was reminiscent of what we see in Morris dancing, which shows an ancient connection here to something specific that I thought was worth mentioning, because these are quite clownish in nature. Now, I have explained how I think the multicoloured clothing and patterns are a reference to their nature now, how they are spirit beings that inhabit all the colours of the fractaled rainbow matrix of the other side, the other realm where they currently are. It's symbolic of their non-physical nature. They are light beings, and Lucifer comes as an angel of light. That's how it works. So these things are going to look beautiful and colourful and wonderful. So it's not uncommon in the New Age for people to think these beings are trying to teach them something or are in some way enlightened, because they are so beautiful and pretty and psychedelic and out there when witnessed. One thing worth mentioning is these feathers. We see this feather motif quite a lot in Morris dances, but also in African tribes as well. If I can bring that up quickly here. If we go to ancient culture, here's one example where they look very similar to the Morris dancers, wearing their own hat of some kind. This is obviously on a different continent. So the archetypes, the similarities between these are uncanny. Absolutely uncanny. This is in Bulgaria with the bells. So obviously with the bells we get a reference to sound as well. These things are entities of sound and light, not necessarily physical in nature with this look here. Something I found recently which I want to add to the Hat Man type look is the Plague Doctor. From when the plague was happening and going through Europe, we had these people going around who were bleeding out their patients. They believed this was the way to cure them, by taking the bad blood out of the body. I'm not sure how they would have thought about replacing the blood afterwards, but they didn't really have much of a success rate, let's put it that way. And I'm not totally sure these masks they put on actually helped them in any way, shape or form. But just look at this figure, this character, not dissimilar from what we've been discussing in the last video about the Hat Man, ghoulish shadow entity surrounded by death. Not an uncommon sight, and I think we're seeing something similar. Now here's another African tribe with this black and white figure with the feathers and the wild, bushy, hairy, fairy body. These things look insane and psychedelic. We have the spirals in the eyes here and the big, wide grin on each one with the pointed, elongated skull and head. So the archetypes are there as well. Now, when I'm talking about Nephilim, they weren't all giants. That's something we do have to remember and bear in mind here. Nephilim are just genetically engineered, genetically modified, chimeric entities, of which many of them were giants. But there were also fairy folk as well. Small people, as well as large imps. Strange gargoyle-like monsters. And I think this comes under the category of this type of Nephilim too, but still very clownish, very playful in nature, and with the feathers as well. Now, I think the feathers, just off the top of my head, may be a reference to Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god, which is believed to have come down to heaven in Mayan or Aztec mythology. But this figure of Quetzalcoatl seems to go by many names, and may also be a reference to Gilgamesh or perhaps Nimrod. There's many figures it could be, a great world leader of some kind. But the feathered serpent's symbolism is present in almost all of this, really. And it's something we should bear in mind. These clown-like figures from Papua New Guinea here, for example. No feathers, but they were a bizarre multicoloured hat. Very green in nature, like the Green Man. That's another thing we've seen referenced quite a lot as well in terms of New Age gods and people worshipping these nature entities. Now, I do believe the Nephilim did take it upon themselves to become the gods of specific parts of nature, like forest gods or flower gods of some kind. And as we saw with the Morris dancers, they always seem to have flowers in their hair, which is not obviously a pagan theme to worship nature. So if we go to the Green Man, again, this seems to be a humanoid type entity merged with very nature-like motifs. Not dissimilar from the jester mask we see quite common as well. So something else to bear in mind while looking through these ancient gods. The Nephilim, the Rephaim. So going back to the folder here as well, obviously we have voodoo witch doctors as I mentioned earlier. Something else I just want to quickly throw in there. We're talking about Nephilim being demons of today, and they look like clowns. They have clown-like features. I've noticed the Swiss Guard for the Pope seems to have this jester fool-like symbology going on with the multicoloured fractured clothing. This red-haired motif in the bizarre-looking hat-like helmet, which is white. So I think it stands to reason that, the Vatican, being the satanic organisation it is, that it would have an army of clown Nephilim demons to protect it. So let's just bear that in mind as well. Look at this Kenyan witch doctor here, which has this frill around its neck with like the red hair of a clown with the red lips, white skin, the feathers on the top as well at the back. So we'll show Quetzalcoatl just so you can understand what I'm talking about here. My spelling might be terrible. Quetzalcoatl, there it is. So here's the feathered serpent worshipped in this the North Americas, I believe it is. This theme, here's a hieroglyph of him. Now look how psychedelic and crazy this figure looks here. You can barely see its human-like features behind its clownish, jester-like frills. But this is a known god of the time. It was worshipped, referenced as a feathered serpent. And we see this feathered serpent archetypal theme run all the way throughout history, not only from the Aztecs, with this symbol of the dragon here, but also to China as well. Chinese dragons have the same archetypal look about them. Frilly, multicoloured, psychedelic, almost feathered-like serpents, big, long, wavy serpents. They seem to have a human aspect for them in some way. I do believe some of these Nephilim were shapeshifters. They could give the illusion to look however they wanted to look in the eyes of the people who were witnessing them. So that's something else to bear in mind there, these similarities of the dragon, the feathered serpent, and these ancient tribes making themselves look like clowns. Okay. So for the first half, that's just a summary there, how you can see these common themes running throughout. Just for a bit of fun, obviously, the geisha, something else probably worth mentioning here. They are actually entertainers. A geisha's job is to entertain guests, not unlike a fool or a jester. They're usually trained in the art of Zen and in the arts of Zen conversation, being able to think on their toes quickly and respond fluidly and in an entertaining way. But it's not uncommon for this jester, this entertainer, this female joker, to make the hair look incredibly huge, to give the illusion that the head is bigger than it actually is, not unlike the Nephilim and the large elongated skulls they had. And naturally, like a clown, they paint their face up to be pale white, like porcelain, with a red mouth. And other things get added too, but you can see this serpent-like, dragon-like feature with the multicolored psychedelic clothing they wear as well, and the kimono. So again, another archetype image of perhaps the same ancient gods that were spread throughout the earth at one point in the ancient past. And a common theme to nature being nature gods, pagan worship as idols in the pagan religion, they have things like butterflies or flowers in the hair. Now that's one thing to look at ancient culture, ancient fashion, ancient styles. But let's come to a modern day fashion display. Now this was by a French fashion company in Spain. And I find it disturbing that obviously this runs on the back of more than just clowns. This runs on the back of the transgendered agenda in order to get men to act more like women and to blur the lines between what gender actually is. Obviously there's an agenda as well to make women act more like men too. But in the fashion industry, obviously an industry which is predominantly full of gay men, we're finding a more and more of a push to normalize men dressing like women. But in this particular display, which is just that, they stuck to a theme which is relevant to what I've been talking about in terms of the Nephilim being the demons. Now, if the Nephilim look like clowns and they are demons, and demons do possess people and influence people's creativity and life on Earth, my theory is we would eventually see it manifest through these corrupt, sinful industries. And the clown, the jester behind all of this, the Joker, would eventually manifest itself through the artwork. And we'll have a look at some of these pictures now, just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Carrying on with the geisha image, here's something I just saw on the YouTube website, the Facebook website for this group. But obviously they have the big red eyes, angular features, clown-like features here for the geisha, but this is the male version. But we'll keep going along. And this is where it begins. We'll make it a slideshow. But just look at the state of this. Look at this man here with the polka dots, like a clown. Now I say this because we have the flowers in the background, the clown-like frills and puffs on the clothes, the psychedelic fractaled patterns and colours, the porcelain effect going through as well with the overt red and white makeup, the shiny gold colours, the otherworldly look about this, mixed with natural themes, the black and white again here as well. I think this is another reference. This guy has the eye on his neck, as you can see. I think this is a reference again to the Nephilim look. That androgynous, Baphomet, both male and female look. That disturbing idea behind the demons and the Nephilim manifesting in reality through things like this. Now, in the real world, this is not going to catch on. Men do not want to dress like this. This is just ridiculous. But they're going to keep pushing the programming and the agenda. They're going to keep pushing it forward and showing these weak beta males and put them on a pedestal and make it seem as though, this is what young men should aspire to be. Coked up, malnourished slaves that dress like women. But the idea I want to put across here, mainly with this fashion industry, this show here, is how the clown comes through. What we're seeing here is not at all dissimilar from what we saw in the Hunger Games and the capital city. So moving on to look at the capital Couture, I think how they pronounce it, capital fashion. We'll see that they, where is it film here? In the Hunger Games, what we just saw then is identical to the type of things people were wearing in this film. A future where pleasure, gluttony, and all of your lusts can be fulfilled if you live in the capital of immense wealth. But this immense wealth is supported by slavery and ultimate poverty surrounding the capital, the workers that produce all of these things for the rich and wealthy. And the ones who have excessively gone overboard with their rich and wealth wear clothing like what we just saw then in that fashion industry. It makes them look like a clown. Here's another example from the film, a concept design. Here's, like I said, they're trying to make it look like it's an official real thing. 12 districts, 12 looks, one exquisite collection. And look at this, it's that demonic, jester-like, clown-like, excessive, multicoloured look. It just continues. It's in everything. They're showing it everywhere. Now look, I think there's a distinction I have to make here, because so people don't get confused about what I mean when I say the demons manifest themselves in things like this. There's many ways a demon can manifest itself through an individual. Now, in some cases, and I believe this does happen because Aleister Crowley claims it happens, and a lot of artists have claimed, musicians especially, have claimed this happens to them. You can directly channel information from one of these entities into the real world. For example, Beyonce has her alter ego, Sasha Fierce, that she says she calls upon. That she calls upon before every show. And this is her alter ego, a demon in some way that she channels, a goddess, which comes through and performs for her on the stage, and it's always kind of her bad side, you know. Marshall Mathers has Eminem, for example. There's famous ideas of a blues artist meeting the devil at the crossroads and being able to play unbelievably well afterwards, making a deal with the devil and channeling a demon. Jimi Hendrix claims to have been channeling demons to write his songs. He doesn't know where they come from, they just comes to him instantly. Aleister Crowley drew Ewas, I believe its name was. Let's see what comes up here. Yeah, here we go. So Aleister Crowley claimed to draw this creature, and it just came to him. It was channeled to him. And he was a high-end satanic Freemason. Well, he was just a full-on Satanist, basically. But yeah, this is what he saw. This big-headed, midget-like grey alien. So you can channel demons directly and then manifest it into reality. Is that what I'm saying the French fashion industry did? I don't know. But it's bizarre that the French fashion industry created all of these around the time It's about to come out. The new remake of It, as you can see here. And also around the same time we had these clown sightings appear, were scaring the hell out of people, chasing them with knives. That this clown theme seems very prevalent right now in a lot of things. They're pushing it. Another example is at the end of Revolution, the season finale to this dystopic future where all the electricity goes out. Now, I'm assuming one town at the end of the series suddenly began to have electricity. And coincidentally enough, this one town, where it shows the end scene regaining its electricity, began with a neon clown lighting up, which I believe looked like this. Now, I can't play the clip because copyright reasons and so forth. But if you type in Revolution season finale, which I'm going to try and get here. Yeah. You'll see this scene here. And this clown lights up first and it pans out. Then all these lights turn on. So it's the idea that in an age of darkness, the first light to appear, the first form of electricity to come back to this dystopic future of no power and energy, is the clown. The clown lights up first in this circular portal-like symbol. Three-ring ice cream. It has the red cross in the background as well. The sunburst behind it, as though it's a god of some kind. Coming through a CERN-like portal, you could probably say. You know, so, again, symbolically speaking, how I said, as the first thing to appear, the first thing to illuminate in the darkness is the clown, the Joker. Symbolic of the Nephilim gods returning after a calamity of some kind, I assume. And perhaps trying to save us all from ourselves or something. I don't know where it's going to go from there. But be aware, don't be deceived. You know, this is very obvious. But as I was saying, you know, there's a distinction we have to make here. There are people who directly channel demons and then create what they basically have been told to create, and then that manifests in reality. I think those people are very few in number and usually very high-end Satanists who are sworn to secrecy. They, as figureheads in industries, I believe, go on to inspire those who aren't in direct contact with demons, or possibly don't even believe demons exist. And then they inspire their artwork to subsequently make more of the same from the figurehead who started the trend, who was in touch with a demon. Useful idiots, you could call these people. Idol worshippers who follow their creative idol and all that they do, thinking it's legit and cool. And then as a result, the culture becomes washed out by satanic themes and imagery, which is what we've seen today. And then eventually the youth don't have to knowingly channel demons to create more demonic symbology in artwork, because the culture is already awash with it. But it all starts with someone who probably channeled the original entity and brought it through. Now, of course, think of the Matrix. Everyone is your enemy in the Matrix. If you aren't awake, anybody at all, can be taken over by the agent and become your enemy directly. If they haven't got Christ and they haven't been saved and they are fully locked into this lie world created by the clowns, the jesters, the demons, the Matrix, then they can be possessed at any given moment by a Nephilim to mess with you. And I believe gang stalking is a symptom of this. This is the idea behind gang stalking. It makes you believe it's a group of people organised going against you and making you feel insane. But really it's probably just demons darting in and out of people to do stuff to you. But these people who are demonically inspired all the time will channel things, probably without even realising it, because they're just an open door. If they do things like psychedelics and are in touch with the jesters on the other side, they may not call them demons. They may think they are divine light beings or teachers or of some kind, there to guide them. The ultimate deception. These things are jokers. These things are liars. These things are having a laugh at your expense, just like a real jester would. Keep your wits about you, people. You know, we'll leave it there for now. I may have ranted in this one, but like I said, there's just so much to actually say at once to prove this idea of what I'm trying to say, that it's difficult to know where to start. But I think I've covered quite a lot in this video to get you thinking a bit more. Again, if you have any other ideas, if there's anything you've seen you want to bring my way, please show me, send me links, and I will appreciate it, and I will talk about it on the channel. Coming up, I want to discuss a particular theory I've developed from this about carnivals and just what they are. The natural habitat of the clown. So yeah, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good day and God bless.
I want you to get together. I want you to get together.